Welcome back to the Earth Intuitive Podcast. My name is Brittany. I'm an Ayurvedic health counselor, and I created this space, this hub for sensitive and intuitive women to feel comforted, supported, and whole in their healing journey. So, this podcast is a blend of energetic updates and diving into our intuition, paired with holistic health, Ayurvedic medicine to explore things like digestion, nervous system, sleep issues, energy, women's health, so that we can create a mind, body, spirit community for healing and to empower yourself through education and connection. So, today I want to talk a bit about energetics when it comes to days of the week and times of the day. So, today we're going to use Western astrology. We're also going to use the philosophies of Ayurveda to look at when we can hone in on our energies throughout the week and throughout times of the day so that we find more balance. So, first things first, I want to start with the days of the week. This really changed my whole mindset around how we work, when we work. As women, it's often really hard to stick to a 9 to 5 schedule. This model was created for men in the workplace, for men in factories. As we know, testosterone rises in the morning and then it naturally falls at the end of the day. So the 9 to 5 model is perfect for male bodies. Now, as we know, as women, especially bleeding women, we have a cycle that lasts about 28 days. And so we go through all sorts of ups and downs, hormonal shifts. And if you are a deeply feeling sensitive woman, you know how hard it is to keep up this 9 to 5, 5 days a week rat race. And it's often the culprit for so many burnout issues, anxiety, sleeplessness, health issues that can happen later on when we don't fully harness our own rhythms. And now I know not everybody can control their work schedule. However, there's definitely been more of an awakening of more flexible work schedules. A lot more people are working from home. A lot more people are working for themselves or for smaller companies. There's even a lot of small companies run by women where they really acknowledge the menstrual cycle. They acknowledge that our bodies work differently. And so, just knowing some of that, this information about the days of the week is really going to help you. And it can help reframe from Monday morning, I have to go all in, all the way to Friday. And then I just sort of like collapse into the couch on Saturday and Sunday. We can really harness to match the natural energies of the skies and of the stars to help us feel more relief, to help us feel more of that balanced work life schedule. So let's start with Mondays. Mondays are one of my favorite days of the week, which is usually really against popular opinion. Mondays, and this is really cool because it takes a part of the actual word Monday, moon day. It is the day of the moon. So the moon is this beautiful, beautiful energy of receptivity, of following the ebbs and the flows. So the moon is never the same. It's very similar to how women's bodies work. The moon controls the tides. Sometimes the tides are really high, sometimes they're really low. I know for myself, when there's a full moon, I'm not going to sleep as much as when there's a new moon. A new moon, I'm probably sleeping a lot more. And this is designed by nature. So as we begin our work week on a Monday, we ease into it, right? We talk about our morning routine. We don't want to just hop out of bed, run out the door. We want to ease into our week really slowly. So the moon is connected to the waters in our body, our emotional landscape, our intuitive landscape. It's also connected to our subconscious, so the things we cannot see. This is a great time to have a little bit of a lighter work day, or maybe you choose not to work on this day if you have that flexibility. This is a good time to do a longer meditation, to really set your goals for the week, but more in a softer, more feminine form way. So maybe more following your body's cues. It's a good time to do a nice long yoga practice, maybe practice yoga nidra or a restorative yoga practice. This is a good time to gather with other women, to go on a long nature walk. This day of, I would say, almost rest, not quite the day of rest, but it's more of a softer, um, more feminine day. This can really help reset us for the entire week ahead. So if you have a normal job or if you work for yourself, if you can, try to limit all the meetings and the tasks you have going on. Allow yourself to ease into the week. Okay, so Monday is Moon Day. How do you want to feel on this day? How can you nourish yourself? How can you fill up your own cup through this beautiful day? Okay, so we take this pause. Yesterday, me and my partner went skiing because we didn't have the kids after a couple of weeks, and so we decided to do something fun, and that can be great too. As I record this, it's a Tuesday, and I'm feeling really fired up because I had that time to rest on a Monday. And so Tuesday is ruled by Mars. This is the most fiery planet out of all the planets. It's ruled by this masculine energy. Mars is usually associated with Aries, and so it's very fiery, it's very action oriented. It goes and moves things forward. So Tuesdays are a great day to tackle a lot of your tasks, to get a lot of stuff done, to clean your house, to organize your office, to schedule all your meetings, to dive into bigger projects, to, collaborate with other people, to get shit done, basically. It's a good day to run a lot of errands. It's a good day to clean. It's a good day to just get whatever you need to get done, done. I love Tuesdays because it almost feels like my first official work day. And because I've given myself that space on Monday, I feel really ready to dive into my week on Tuesday. This is the time to get up a little bit quicker, to do a more invigorating breath practice in the morning, to write down all of the things you want to get done. And maybe you do that on Monday evening. So, this is the space to really go for it, to harness whatever you want to accomplish and really tackle a lot of that list on your Tuesday. So, do you see how we have these ebbs and flows of energy, and this helps reset us? Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is a very cloudy planet, but it's really associated with the mind and with speech and with communication. So, another great day for scheduling talks and meetings with people, a great day to schedule or film videos or podcasts or something where you're speaking and interacting. It's a good day to, if you have a spiritual practice, to do some sort of divination or ritual or prayer, because again, we're communicating. It's a good time to have a long conversation with a loved one over the phone. And it could be a good time for travel as well, because Mercury is a very airy energy. And so it can be an instant thing going on. Now, I will say in Ayurveda, and we'll get to this in a moment, if you have a lot of airiness already or a lot of anxiety going on in your constitution, in your mind, you may want to carve out just a little bit of space on this day, especially if it's in the middle of the week, to do something really grounding. So, a yoga nidra, a deep walk through the woods, restorative yoga, having a weighted blanket on you, just having something to help ground you. And this is a great day to write, to communicate, to use your voice and your intuition to express yourself out into the world. This is a wonderful day for that. So if you happen to have a podcast or a video, this would be a good time to record. Thursdays are ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is this huge planet, and it has to do with success and abundance and an overflow of everything you desire. This is a good time to look at money stuff. This is a good time to complete any tasks that you didn't complete from Tuesday. Do it on this day, right? We don't always want to push everything to Friday. We want Friday to be a little bit more mellow. So Thursday is a good time to catch up on any work that you haven't completed yet, on bigger projects. It's a great time to dream big. It's a good time to have a money date, if you've ever heard of that term, to sit with your finances, to make bigger decisions about these longer term financial goals you have. It's a good time to dream big about the success of your life, of your business, of your livelihood. If you don't work, maybe this has something to do with the success of your family, success of your homestead, right? So Thursday is Jupiter Day. It's a really good time to do any sort of work around manifestation, money stuff, abundance, your business. Think bigger and bigger and bigger on this day. So notice any limiting beliefs you have. Notice where you're trying to keep yourself small if you're dreaming of these bigger dreams, and come back to what's actually possible and what baby step can I take right now that's going to get me closer to that goal. I heard this beautiful metaphor recently. It's like we don't build a house overnight, we do it brick by brick. Or we don't get to the other side of the world overnight, we do it step by step by step. And so you could think about, and this is a good day to do visualization work of what your life is going to look like in 2 years from now, your ideal life. But then I want you to come back and say, okay, that's like step Z. I'm at step B. What's my next right step to get me to step C? And that's how we get there. We get there over time. Now, of course, there's, eclipses, there's all these intense times in our timeline, especially right now, where we can kind of fold the timeline and we can jump forward really quickly. But that's not really up to us. That's more of just what happens in the skies. So all we can do is just ask, what's my next right step? And then take that action. So any residual actions you need to take for the week, any big dreams you have, finish it on your Thursday. Friday, the cure, I'm in love. Friday, I'm in love. Friday is the day of Venus. Venus is a beautiful planet. I almost see it as like a cousin to the moon. Venus has to do with beauty and romance and love and self care and feminine energy. So, this is a really good day to start to slow things down again, to maybe schedule a self date. Maybe you do a spa treatment on this day. Maybe you do a juicy yoga practice on this day. Maybe you get coffee with a friend. Maybe you go on a date with your loved one, with your significant other. This is a time to maybe like adorn your office a little bit more, clean up your space and make it even more inviting. Maybe bake something really delicious, cook something really delicious, have a nice elixir in the morning. So, this is where we can really tap into our feminine energy. When we tap into this energy, we're more better able to receive. So a lot of us women, we've grown up in a very masculine world, and a lot of us still have a lot of unhealed masculine within us. So if you feel like you have to do everything yourself, that you don't have enough support, you just feel like I've had to do everything myself. I've had to be my own man and woman to support myself. This is a really good day to tap into your feminine energy. Maybe you do this through dance or movement of some kind. Maybe you sing or do some sort of expression or something that taps you greater into your innate feminine energy. This is what helps us receive love, receive financial abundance, receive friendships, receive gifts, receive, community and connection. This is the time for that. So, Friday, do something delectable for yourself. It doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, even if it's just a nice hike, or going to see a movie, or watching your favorite TV show, or, adorning your altar or your desk with something beautiful, maybe grabbing and buying some flowers at the market. This is the day to do that. Now, don't worry if you're like panicking and you're like, well, how am I going to get all the work done that I need to get done for the week? Saturn is our next day. Saturn is on Saturday. Saturday, Saturn. Saturn is the planet of discipline and restrictions. It doesn't have to be negative. This is the sort of masculine energy that helps us put a container on our dreams so that they actually manifest. So, contrary to popular belief, as an entrepreneur, I like to work on Saturdays. It may not be a lot, But I like to do something in the morning at least, maybe it's sending an email or newsletter out. Maybe it's, putting together something for my school community. Maybe you work on an assignment that you didn't get to the week before. And if you're like, I'm not really okay with working on a Saturday, of course, do what you want to do. Maybe this is a day to clean your house, to organize stuff, to go to the grocery store, like to get your tasks done, whether it's for your business or your job, or whether it's for your home life, right? Maybe this is the day you clean your house every week. That would be a great day to do that. Maybe you just want to work in the morning and then in the afternoon you do something really fun, or vice versa. So this is a day to get shit done again. Really good day for that. And again, like take or leave all of this material. If you're like, I don't want to do anything on Saturdays, you get to do whatever you want. But just remember that this energy is at play and you could take advantage whenever you'd like. Lastly, we have Sunday, the day of the sun. So this is our vitality. This is who we truly are. We have church celebrations on this day. Great time for that. This might be like, I want to do something just for me and I want to go on this epic hike I've been wanting to go on. I'm going to go do that. This is a time to gather with friends and family. This is a time to just let your light shine in whatever way that looks for you. So, Sundays, I always see for myself, I don't really like to do anything on Sundays. I don't really like to do any work, unless I feel inspired. I like to sometimes go to a static dance if I can, or do something kind of fun and different, go on a long hike. This is a great day to do that, to really reset, 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 enjoy yourself, have fun on this day before we start the week again. And so, this is just the basic planets that rule the days of the week. And if you're sensitive, you'll probably feel this. There's probably a reason you don't want to do a lot on a Monday or a Friday. Listen to that, lean into that. It's better to follow this energy and your intuition versus forcing yourself into a system, into a box that doesn't work for you. And then you don't get done what you really want to get done because you're in this like confined space that's not able to breathe. So, this blueprint, this schedule can help you breathe in this way. And I would love to know if you already follow this pattern, please let me know in the comments. If you want to try this out, if something really lit up for you, let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to hear how this works for all of you. And of course, it's going to be different week by week. As women, we have cycles. There's going to be weeks where we don't do anything. There's going to be weeks where we do a lot. So, of course, you don't need to, make this even more restrictive for yourself. Just as a guideline, you could write this down, put it by your desk. And if you're feeling like, I just don't want to do work today, and you look over and it's Monday, okay, follow that. And then the next morning, you could get your tasks done. All right, so that is the astrological days of the week. Now we're going to get into an Ayurvedic concept of the doshas at different times of the day. So, a lot of us know about the doshas as more of a body type thing, and we're not going to get into that today. I have a whole free training on that for your own personal physical and energetic body in relation to the doshas. You could check that out in my free school community. This is a completely free course that you can take. The link is in the show notes for that. But this is more about how the doshas play out during the day, which is so cool. So, first of all, what is a dosha? Dosha translates, and this is from Indian philosophy that's thousands of years old. Dosha translates to an imbalance. And it's also a combination of two or more elements that create a specific energy in the body and an energy in nature and in our world. So the first dosha we have is Vata. This is probably, I would say, the most disruptive, and this is usually what is at play the most in our current culture. Vata dosha is the combination of air and ether. So it's very airy, it's very liminal, it's a very creative time, but it can feel very ungrounding as well. The second dosha is Pitta. This is mostly fire and a little bit of water. So this is a time of intensity. You could get a lot of work done during this time, ambition, activity, physical activity. Think about the elements of the fire. What are the qualities of a fire? It's sharp, it's hot, it transforms things, it gets things done. And then the qualities of the air and the ether for vata is it's light, it's airy, you can't grasp it, but it moves really fast, it communicates. It's all about movement. Pitta is all about transformation. Then we get to Kapha dosha, which is the combination of earth and water elements. So this is a lot more sturdy and grounded and in the earth. Kapha is a slower moving time of day. We'll get into the times and it's going to make sense in a moment. This is a time of relaxation, of waking up or of going to sleep. It's a very more lethargic time so that we could restore our body after all of this air and fire. So we need all three to really find our purpose, do our work in the world, but also restore and rest our bodies to stay healthy and vibrant. So going back to Vata dosha, the times of Vata is 2 a.m. in the morning until 6 a.m. in the morning, and then 2 p.m. in the afternoon to 6 p.m. So you could think about the doshas have 2 times a day, same time. So 2 to 6 a.m. and p.m. This may ring a bell for some of you because many people out there wake up for no reason in between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. This could be vata at play. Maybe your nervous system is out of balance. Maybe you're going through perimenopause. That's the vata time of life. We're not going to get into that today, but there's a lot of things at play that can happen during this time. And so it's really important to do your regular routines throughout the day so that you could sleep during this time. Vata, an airy, airy energy that has no regularity, no container. The antidote is regularity and having regular meal times, regular routines every day. Think about warm and grounding to offset the cold, light energy of the air. And so in the afternoon, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., this is a great time to write something. This is a great time to get creative. This is a good time to, uh, do a light exercise. This is a good time to have a nice, meaningful conversation with a friend. Vata rules communication, whether it's on this physical plane and also in the astral plane. Communication with your ancestors, with God. This is a really creative and liminal time. And so if you do any sort of creative work, spiritual work, healing work, 2 to 6 p.m. is a wonderful time for that. Of course, do it whenever feels good for you. Sometimes it's a little earlier in the morning. You could also do that in that window early in the morning until 6 a.m. So if you get up before 6 a.m., which a lot of Ayurvedic texts recommend, if you're an early bird, this is a beautiful time for meditation. Before the sun comes up, we're tapping more into that liminal space, the subconscious mind. It's a deeply spiritual time when everything is quiet and before the world really wakes up. So that is the Vata time of day. If you are a high Vata person or you're experiencing a lot of Vata issues right now, whether that be insomnia, anxiety, etc., I really encourage you to actually do the opposite during this time. Even carving out 30 minutes to do a restorative yoga practice or a yin yoga practice or a yoga nidra practice. Maybe you take a really grounding walk through the woods. Maybe you work with your garden. That's extremely grounding to work with the soil. Maybe you do an abhyanga massage, which I get into in my free school community. Working with warm oil. Any sort of treatments you can do with a body worker, great during this time. So in Ayurveda, we always want to find the opposite as the remedy. If we have too much air, we're adding more air, we're going to have too much air in the body, right? So if we want to decrease that amount of air in the body, we want to bring the elements of earth and water to help ground and stabilize all that air. Pitta time of day, that's next. This is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So during the day, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., this is a wonderful time to get your work done. This is a great time to get your shit done. This is also the best time to eat your biggest meal of the day. Why is that? Because from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., when the sun is highest in the sky, that's when our agni, our digestive fire, is at its peak. So it can digest way better than in early in the morning or in the evening. So have your biggest meal of the day during this time. Perhaps do your exercise during this time. Get your biggest tasks done during this time. It's better to do it then versus like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, because that might stimulate you a little bit too much for the evening. So if you're a pitta person and you want to really feed into your fire, this is the perfect time to do that from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We even hear about it as like in the summertime in the tropics, you want to avoid the hot, hot sun during this time. Of course, you can go outside and enjoy the sun. We all need the sun. But if it's like in the middle of summer and you get overheated easily, you may want to avoid being in the sun during that time because it can overheat us and overstimulate us in the summertime. I know for myself, I have a lot of pitta dosha. So in the summer, I often will avoid doing hikes and things like that in the middle of the day because it's just too hot for my constitution. So I often do my hikes when the sun goes down and I feel more of that cooling, calming energy. So that's that time of day to pay attention to. Another thing to note is if you have an intention, this happens to so many of us. If you have an intention to go to sleep by like, I don't know, 10 p.m., 10:30, I'm going to go to sleep before 11. And then the next thing you know, it's 12:30 in the morning and you're deep into scrolling or you're deep into your TV show or you're like all of a sudden feeling this creative surge. There's a reason for that. It's because pitta has come back online. So 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., this is pitta time. I used to stay up till like 1 in the morning until I met my partner 2, 3 years ago. And I knew it wasn't healthy. And we need to ideally be asleep during this time because this is when the liver can regenerate and to heal, and our brain regenerates and heals. The earlier we go to sleep, the more deeper sleep we get. And that's what we need to really heal our body. We want a few rounds of that delta sleep, that deep, deep, deep sleep. So if you can, if you are able to, try to get in bed before 10. Okay, if you already go to sleep at like 12:30, you don't need to make that big of a jump. Just do it in half-hour increments. Just try to go to bed a little bit earlier, I don't know, every few weeks or something until you regulate. When we go to sleep by 10 or before, we're going to avoid that pitta window. And so we have that deeper sleep at night. We're going to get up earlier and feel really good and really excited about the day ahead. So this means, especially if you're pitta, you'll want to eat a lighter dinner earlier. Okay, especially if you have digestive issues, especially if you have indigestion, acid reflux, any of that, you want to avoid eating at least 3 hours before you go to bed. If you're still hungry, you could have some broth, some tea. Don't starve yourself, of course. Maybe a small snack or some yogurt. Warm milk is always great with some herbs. But we want to prepare the body for sleep. And so a great way to do that is to turn down the lights before bed, to focus on red light instead of blue light. These little tweaks we can do, and also make sure that your bedroom is cool enough. A lot of people will wake up because they're too hot. We want to keep that temperature in between 60 and 67 degrees, ideally. I know this sounds crazy, but in the winter, if you have a lot of heat going on in your house, you can even crack a window open, and that may help just bring some air circulation through. So a lot of us sleep better if we're a little bit chilly, not too chilly, but a little bit chilly. So again, pitta time 10 to 2, great time during the day to get your work done, your exercise in, all of that stuff. And then at night, try to go to bed before this time. Now, hey, listen, if you're a night person and you're up and you want to take advantage of this creative time, go for it, right? You know your body best. And you might have a lot of creative insights at midnight. I don't recommend it for your body, but if you're in that phase of life where you're just staying up later and you're just like, this is what I'm going to do for a while and this feels good for me, and you sleep in, all power to you. This might be a really fiery, creative time for you to tap into your inner fire. Lastly, we have kapha. Again, this is the elements of earth and water. Kapha time is from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. This makes sense. This is the sunrise and the sunset. Most of the year, not all of the year. Kapha is this kind of, I always think of kapha as like a bear coming out of its cave. Very slowly, drowsily coming out of its cave. So when we wake up in the morning, if you're waking up after 6 a.m., you might feel a little bit more drowsy. You know, I prefer this personally just because I have a lot of propensity for anxiety. And so when I sleep in a little bit, or I'll wake up really early and then go back to sleep, I often find that I feel more relaxed and at ease. It might take me a little bit longer to get out of bed, but I feel better. Now, some of you, if you really feel lethargic, you have no motivation to get out of bed, I encourage you, if you can, to get up before the kapha window. This is what Ayurveda suggests. Okay. So if you get up during vata time, you're going to feel more of that vata energy before 6 a.m. And this is a good time to meditate and to get more creative, and you'll have a little bit more energy. However, if you've been feeling exhausted or overwhelmed, anxious, I want you to tend to that part of yourself first, and you can allow yourself to wake up, maybe between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., 8:30, whatever you need. Right? These are not rules, they're just guidelines for you to understand what you might need best. 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. This time of day is a great time to start to wind things down, just like the sunset. So as the sun goes down, turn off all your overhead lights in your home, rely on lamps, candlelight, red lights. Try not to have a blue light screen in your face all night. If you're doing that, just make sure you have blue light blockers. You could change your phone setting to red light. Even better if you can maybe take a bath or read a book or do something that's not so screen related. Some people just turn their phones off after the sun goes down. I think that's a wonderful idea. It's not always, possible for all of us, but you'll find that when you start to really tune things down, you're going to go to sleep easier and you're going to feel more rested. You're going to get more of that deeper sleep. So kapha time, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. This is a great time for restorative yoga, doing your abhyanga massage, relaxing, restoring, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is also a time where our digestive fire is more sluggish. 6 p.m., 10 p.m., 6 a.m., 10 a.m. So, contrary to popular belief, of course, listen to your body. But if you wake up and you're not super, super hungry, just eat a very tiny bit of breakfast. Lately, I've been doing my chai with like a little bit of yogurt. There's a very small amount of yogurt and berries. And then after an hour or two, I have like a real breakfast. So we don't want to overload our bodies first thing in the morning. We also don't want to overload our bodies really late at night, which I know is hard because many countries they eat really late at night, big, big, big meals. Even in America, dinner is usually our biggest meal. But if you can, have that biggest meal earlier in the day. Lunchtime is ideal. Maybe you do a really like late. Sometimes I'll do this where we'll have like a bigger meal at like 3:30, if the restaurant is open. And then you have all those hours afterward to walk and to digest that food. So again, these are just guidelines that come directly from the stars and from the earth, and this helps us feel more balanced and whole. And what's great about this is you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to take any supplements. You don't have to, do all the stuff. It's just guidelines of how nature naturally moves through its cycles, and nature is so predictable in its cycles. So, if you make any tweaks from anything I mentioned in the podcast, if anything illuminated something in you, please comment below wherever you listen to your podcast. I would love to hear. And I'd also love to invite you to my free Skool community. So, we have a community of sensitive women in there. I've got free courses on Ayurveda one-on-one. You can dive deeper into the doshas. I've got a course on nourishing your nervous system that's completely free. We have monthly free soul space calls to tap into the energies. We do journaling, tarot. I have weekly tarot spreads that I share with the community. There's a lot happening in there, and I'll probably be adding more just connection calls to build that community. I would love to see you in there. The link is below. If you want to go deeper, I also have a one-on-one holistic health program, earthintuitive.com. That website is below. You can find out more about that. Otherwise, thank you all so much for listening, and I hope that this helps shift something for you to know that there's nothing wrong with you if you don't feel like you resonate with the standard schedule that we're all supposed to just be okay with. You are allowed to rebel and to go back to nature in the way it was intended. So I am sending you all my love, and I will see you in the next episode.